Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Life and Sound podcast. I'm your host, Kid Capone. Today, I have an incredible guest with me, Timmy Holiday. He's a Dublin, Ireland-based sample maker and producer. I'm a huge fan of him. I've been following him for at least 4 years. He's the reason I became a sample maker. His music has had just a prolific impact on my life, and it's the reason I got into this, and I'm just so blessed that he's taken his time to talk with me, chat with me today, reveal his identity on the show. Timmy, how you doing today?
Hey, how's it going, bro? That's crazy to hear. Thank you so much. That was a beautiful introduction. Thank you so much.
I appreciate that. Yeah, man, I'm really excited to have you on. I just know, you're going to have a lot of great information to share. I'm just so impressed with your output. It's just a blessing to have you on here, man.
Thanks for having me. I feel blessed to be here. For sure, man. It's great. Yeah, cool.
Excellent. Yeah, we'll kind of start with some of the easier questions, and then I'll move into more of the technical stuff later on in the interview. But we're just here to have a good conversation and a good time.
Cool, man. Sounds good.
So first things first, you have an incredible musical output. How do you maintain that? Uploading daily, and do you do your cover arts as well?
Yeah, I can't really take full credit for the cover arts because it's a little bit of a, say, creative license, visual sampling, I would say, where I find pictures and stuff on Pinterest and kind of, put them together. It's more like a collage. It's not like I'm out taking photographs or anything like that. I do everything myself. Yeah, I do it all. From putting them all together, making all the music, playing all the instruments, I just started doing it one day, and then it kind of I missed a day or two, and it felt weird. Do you know what I mean? It was like a embedded habit after a while, and then if any days were missed, I was like I felt gross. I was like, oh no, I gotta start keeping this more consistent. So eventually, it just kind of spiraled into me okay, well, this would be my thing. I'll just put something out every day and see what happens, and it got me here talking to you, so
it's incredible. Yeah, man, it's just, I couldn't believe it when I saw you just being able to upload daily, and it's I felt like you never missed with a sample, not even just the uploads, but the quality. They were all incredible. They always made me feel like an emotion, which is the most magical thing I feel like in music.
Oh yeah, well, for sure. I mean, I guess even when I started out, I wasn't really sure what samples and stuff were. I initially started because I wanted to start making my own songs and stuff as an artist. So I was like, it'd be cool if I tried to get a song a day. That would be great. But that was very over ambitious because I couldn't really play many instruments back then, and I couldn't really sing or anything back then. So it was really okay, cool. So I was trying to make songs, and my way of promoting them was I was going to put them on this website called futureproducers.com. So they have this section in there. It's called Flip This, where people used to post random samples from the internet and stuff, and people would make beats out of them. So I was like, okay, what if I put my songs up there for people to flip and stuff, and then people could hear my songs, and eventually it would kind of lead on somewhere else or something. Do you know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of got into making samples. I was initially trying to make songs. After a while, I was like, okay, trying to make a song a day. The position I'm in, I can't really do this. So it's it was too much. So I could do it now because I've got more experience and I'm not so precious with everything I make. But back then, it was this track is everything to me. Do you know what I mean? Where
Definitely.
It's I'd put my heart and soul into it and stuff, and I think I was probably too precious with some of them, and they kind of come across a bit contrived or something like that. But now I'm a bit more lackadaisy, and it's okay, come on, let's just make something really quick and see what it sounds like afterwards. But so that's my initial thing was I'm trying to make songs. So it was more about getting an emotion across than it was this is a sample, this is a product. Do you know what I mean? So maybe that's what you were kind of picking up on a little bit. I was trying to just get more a feeling across than I was thinking this would be good for somebody to make a beat out of.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love how you transitioned. You initially started one thing, but as you were following your joy, it led you down a different path, and then it took you all the way to where you are now, are you playing all the instruments that we hear in your samples?
Oh yeah, everything. I make sure I do that because well, one of the big reasons as well, it's like I kind of want to learn all these instruments, but I was like, okay, if I give my brain a reason to have to do this, there's probably a better chance of it like holding on to the information that I'm feeding. So it's like, okay, if I need to make a guitar track, okay, then I'll have to learn these chords to make the guitar track. Do you know what I mean? So it was like creating as a way of learning. So I've been trying really hard to like play everything and record everything myself, just as a way of learning. And then like if I have a track at the end of it, that's kind of inconsequential because it's like the process is more important to me. Do you know what I mean?
That's
just like
incredible.
trying to learn. So yeah, so I've played them all to a certain kind of cheeky producer degree, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Kind of stop and start method.
No, I love that. Like your musicianship shines through the music too. Like I can hear you're like a great key player. You're like a great guitar player. Like even if you may not feel like you're great, but it's the way it comes across in the end product that sounds incredible.
Cheers. Well, I am like a bass player at heart, which is strange because I don't really play bass in any of my samples for some reason. I don't know why, but it's like I would feel comfortable calling myself a bassist, but out of respect to guitarists and pianists that I know, I would never call myself either one of those things. But I get by. As long as you can get like the sound that you can hear in your head out, I think that's good enough, right?
Agreed.
Yeah. I'm not like trying to show off or anything.
No, I don't think you're showing off or anything like that. You're just, you're coming from a pure place. And I love that,
man.
You used the samples. Like you said, it was almost inconsequential that you ended up making a sample. It was almost a way just to practice your instruments and get better as a musician. And
Exactly.
then the sample was the product of your practice.
Yeah, and it was good because I guess like samples are kind of shorter than full songs and stuff, so it was like a kind of, and they could be very focused, like hyper focused, like on the point of this is like complex chords or how to mic a piano. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you could like use sample, like the actual track is like kind of like a target of what you want done at the end of it, if you get me, and then you learn how to do it by making that thing. So yeah, it's cool.
That's definitely well said.
Cheers, bro.
Yeah. Where did you get the name Timmy Holiday as an artist?
Oh, okay. So Timmy is actually my name, but I had always kind of hated it because I don't know if you know many Timmys. We haven't got like a great track record. We're kind of like we've got like Tiny Tim. We've got Timmy from South Park. We've got Timmy from Fairly Odd Parents. It's not a great team. You know what I mean? It's like so I was like, okay, I'm gonna use this name because I don't like it and try and make something I like out of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're gonna change the narrative. You're gonna be the champion of the Timmys.
Exactly, like this weakness of mine, my stupid name will become my greatest power. Like that's what I was trying to do. And Holiday was well, for ages I was like I wanted to sound like it's an old like lounge singer or something, or like an old blues man. So I was like, it'd be cool if it was like Timmy Gillespie or like something like that.
Yeah.
And then I was listening. There's this guy called Kenny Werner, and he's like an old like jazz piano player, but he does like these kind of weird kind of new age meditations, and he kind of combines that with like improvising music and stuff. So it's very hippie stuff, but I got into that for a while, and I was listening to one of his meditation CDs, and there was a line in it, and he was like, "A holiday from perpetual discomfort," and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's what making music feels like to me." So I was like, "Yoink, I'm gonna take that, Timmy Holiday." I was like, that sounds kind of cool. And then it has like the Billie Holiday kind of nod in there as well. He's the greatest of all time. So I was like, okay, it sounds cool. I'm gonna go with this.
Definitely.
So yeah, that's the story behind the name.
It has an incredible ring to it, and it definitely has that like nod to Billie Holiday, and it felt like an iconic name to me. It sounded perfect. The cadence is amazing.
Cheers, bro. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, definitely. Was it a conscious decision to kind of remain anonymous and not so much in the scene or like on social media showing your face?
Oh yeah, completely, like 100%. Because the idea of doing things like interviews scares the living daylights out of me. No, it was really that kind of just came from playing in bands and stuff. I've been in tons of bands and stuff around Dublin, gigging away, and I was at a lot of gigs where like this is gonna sound like it's gonna sound mean almost, but like it was a lot of friends and family at the gigs. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, this is cool and all. They're kind of here because they have to be though. Like they're kind of like guilted into going these gigs and stuff. So I was like, if I ever make my own music, I'm not gonna tell anybody I know about it. I'm just gonna put it out and then see if people like it for the music. Do you know what I mean? And not because
Yeah.
like, you know, I sent it to my cousins and aunties and be like, "Hey, listen to this." So that was the initial kind of idea of it, and also as well is because it kind of gave a certain freedom to making stuff. Where beforehand, it would take me so long to just make music because I'd be so worried about what other people were thinking about it. Like before I'd even like made the track, I'd be like, "Oh no, I can't do these chords because." It's not like whatever the worry would have been, but I have to get over that, and kind of being anonymous was a nice kind of way of kind of eventually getting there, if you get me. So like I could put whatever I wanted out, nobody I knew was going to hear it, so it didn't matter what I made, so I could just make what I wanted, and then eventually that turned into me being able to just make whatever I want and not be too precious or worried what other people were going to think of it.
Wow.
So
Thank you so much for sharing that. That's an incredible like piece of advice. I feel like it's almost like the experience you had of being anonymous freed you creatively to just do whatever you wanted to do.
yeah, no, without a doubt. Also, I had some very ambitious plans where I was like, "Oh, it'd be cool if he was like a video game character, and I made like my own video game universe that people could like hang out in and stuff." But like after trying to do that for a while, I was like, "Nah, this is way too much work," so I just gave up.
Well,
But
maybe that'll come full circle eventually in the future. The
oh
idea is
man,
there.
I'd love that. If anybody out there who's watching this knows anything about video games, get in touch with me. It'd be great.
Definitely. You already have a great soundtrack ready for the video game. That's for
That's
sure.
it. That's the goal, man. I'd love to be scoring games. That would be it. Like I'd get rid of all my samples and just score video games. It'd be brilliant. I'd love it.
Yeah, you'd be incredible at it. I definitely know you're good at communicating a feeling through your music, and it's something that I
Cheers,
could
bro.
tell just comes from a joyful place in your life. So I feel like you would do it to a high degree and a high level for sure.
Without a doubt, man. I'd love to do it. It'd be great. Um, yeah. So that's what the whole anonymous thing was. It's
Did
fun.
you ever feel like being anonymous held you back in from being maybe more successful or like being super present on social media or anything like that?
Well, it kind of actually played into, I guess, because like I wouldn't be into those things anyway. Do you know what I mean? It's like as a person, I'm not like trying to be on my phone all day or anything like that anyway. So it's like, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because I think if I wasn't anonymous, I probably would have gotten more comfortable doing the kind of social media stuff and showing my face and stuff, which I think probably would have been a better thing in the long run. But you can only say that after being anonymous for so long. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm not sure, like, because I was thinking like maybe making like a Twitch page or something like that, or like just doing like live cook-ups and all that kind of stuff. Like that would be cool. But there's a big part of me saying, yeah, but then I'd lose this whole other thing, this whole other kind of freedom of just being completely anonymous. And then eventually I was like, there's so many mysterious producers out there. So it's not even interesting anymore. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just, I'll
Yeah,
just show me
just keep
face and
going.
get over it. Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
I love that. Like, and Twitch is always there. Live streams could always be there if you decide to change your mind, but definitely playing into the anonymous narrative has given you great success, and I still feel like it's working out for you in the long run.
Hey, cheers, bro. I appreciate that. It's
Of
cool.
course. What are some of your future plans for yourself and your brand kind of at the moment?
Well, my future plans are gonna be my initial plans, where I want to start putting like songs out instead of samples, if you get me. Because that was kind of really the whole point why I started making these kind of things. So I was like, I have to honor that and go back to it. So I'd like to like like for the longest time, I was just like, I had this idea if I made EPs that like the stems were available to and people could flip them and stuff like, and just put them out and then people can use them however and see how it goes. So that's like what my mind is on now. Like, but it also it took ages to learn how to sing properly to learn how to do that. So it's like I feel like I'm good enough now, but that took ages. But so I feel like that'll be the next step for me, the next exciting step for me. So I'd love to like just have songs out, go around to like open mics and just play some shitty little songs for 3 minutes. It'd be great. That's my dream. Like I'd love that. And as for like sample wise and stuff, I've just got I think I've got a few things coming out with some cool companies that I've been big fans of for a long time now. So that's going to be interesting. I don't know how much I can talk about that actually, but like that's going to be kind of cool. Another like if we're talking future, like the kind of ego goals where I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna have a song with Kanye West. It's gonna be featuring Timmy Holiday. I'm gonna have like a hook on it. So it's Kanye West, Jay-Z, and Drake, and it's only because they're the biggest, and that's it. So I've got my little humble goals, like I want to play open mics in around Dublin, and then I'm also going to have songs with Jay-Z and Kanye West and Drake.
I love it, and I feel like you can definitely accomplish those both, like having the attention or the intention and like the creative detail you have to your work, and just you are a talented artist at the end of the day, and I feel like you are 100% capable of accomplishing those things.
Cheers, bro. That means a lot. I'm going to have to do it now because I've said it and people will be like, oh, he never made it.
No, it'll happen. I have a feeling it'll happen.
That's it. It's intention, right?
Yeah. And if you don't speak it into existence, it may not ever happen. But
exactly,
even thinking about it is good, but speaking it and believing it'll happen is definitely how you get on the path closer.
That's it, man. Cards are on the table now, so I better do that.
Well, I have faith in you. I definitely think you'll be able to accomplish it.
Cheers, bro.
Are there any production tricks or techniques you have to make your process quicker?
Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely. So I do this thing where like I have like an interval timer, if you get me. So like I'll set it to like 5 minutes, like 5 kind of sets of 5, if you get me. So the first like 5 minutes of it will be stacking different instruments, just recording, boom, 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 boom. And then the next like 20 minutes, it will be me like kind of processing them and all, if you get me. So yeah, that's been great for me because I'm like, it's closer to improvising music, which I feel like is a good thing because there's a certain kind of urgency and nice feeling to that kind of, where it's like, okay, I'm not thinking about this at all. Like I'm just kind of, I can only go with what I know because this is such a short amount of time in those 5 minutes for me to get down what I'm initially feeling down. And then the next 20 minutes processing it all, it's like, okay, well, that's a bit more kind of like, what's the word? Like kind of mathematical or something?
Yeah,
or like,
kind of like more intentional and focused, I guess.
Exactly, yeah. So that's been great for me. Like, so I've been trying to get like samples done in like 25 minutes and stuff like that. And it's been cool because it means I don't do too much to it either because, there's a point like last year where I was like going crazy with the layers. There was way too much going on and everything. But it's strange because like that's how you get your respect from other producers. They're like, oh man, you're doing great now. And I was like, cheers. And then I was like, these samples are never getting used. It's like, yeah, no. It's funny, like, so like, yeah, it's good to have time constraints because you can't do too much probably for the better, if you get me.
Yeah, it almost doesn't give you the room to be over analytical or like second guess your decisions. It's like
no, that's the worst, especially because people second guess the stuff before they even have the thing done, if you get me. And it's like, you can make something and then be like, okay, this is terrible. I prefer that rather than be like, I'm just not going to do this because I think it's a bad idea. Do you know what I mean? It's
incredible piece of advice right there. Like that's something that I know I've struggled with before in the past when making samples is, I'll start playing something and maybe it feels good or sounds good, but I'll be like, this chord progression has already been used, or, I don't know if this is okay. Like, I don't know how to make it better, or is it good enough? All these
Yeah,
things that don't matter at the end of the day. It's
exactly.
like, I just started the journey. I haven't even gotten into the sample yet. I haven't even laid down the guitar yet, and I'm already writing it off or second guessing it. So
That's it, man. I mean, like, I can see the other kind of point of view where people would want to be a bit more intentional and a bit more careful and stuff. But I'm like, what I'm on now is like, nah, I kind of like the feeling of just like, okay, let's get this done, and then, okay, if it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, great. Keep moving.
yeah, no, that's
fun.
definitely true. Because even as you say that, it reminds me of when I was making my first sample pack that I released with my friend Spaceboy Uno. And
Cool.
what was amazing about it was I realized now, because he was here and he kind of didn't let me second guess things, that's what helped make the process quicker. It was like, lay down the piano. Is this good? He's like, yeah, sounds good. And I was like, what should we do? He said, pick up the bass. Okay, let's pick up the bass. Does it sound good? Okay. And just, we did that layer by layer, and not being able to be alone and over analytical and over judging my production made everything come out much smoother in the end.
That's such a cool way to make music as well. Like, I like the idea of like, you might not always be the greatest judge of what you do being good or bad. You know what I mean? Because you are like, I don't know, you might feel insecure, you might be overconfident. You could be like, this is the shit, and then somebody be like, that is crap. Like, what do you stop this stuff? So to kind of have somebody else there to just be like, no, that's like, okay, cool. And then you do that for them. Do you know what I mean? You just kind of keep passing the ball back and forth. It's one of the best ways to make music. It's great. Like, so yeah, that sounds great. I'd love to check that pack out. That sounds cool.
Yeah, I'll send it to you by all means,
yeah,
man. I'll just
sure,
send
bro.
it to you and you can go crazy with it. Check it out.
Deadly. That'd be great.
Excellent. How has your sound transformed over the years since you first started uploading to YouTube? I was listening to some of your older work last night, and I felt like it was still fantastic and still sounded like you, but it was much more simple. It'd be maybe just a piano or just a guitar.
Yeah, definitely. It was just way, 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 way pared back for a good reason, I think, as well. It was mostly because I was learning how to produce while I was doing it. So, like, I learned how to mix while I was doing it as well. So, like, I kind of tried to keep things as simple as possible. And back then as well, I was, like, stressing over every instrument. Like, I'd be like, I spent 3 hours recording this guitar. You know what I mean? Like, I was, like, so, like, just, I don't know, just precious with everything. So, as the time passed, it kind of got more and more like, okay, yeah, I've got the hang of this now. I know how a mic works now. I can just point it at the thing and then hit record and it'll be okay. But also another thing I was only thinking about there the other day was, because I didn't know sample making was a thing really when I started off. So like that was like strange to me. Like I kind of found out like about that after a while of doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like I was putting samples out and stuff, and then somebody like hit me up on YouTube and they're like, "Oh, you're like YouTube Frank Dukes," and I was like, "What does that mean?" And it was like Bloodsport. What are you talking about? And he's like, "No, Frank Dukes."
The sample maker.
Yeah, so I was like, "Oh, okay." So I looked up Frank Dukes, and I was like, "Oh, this guy's been like behind a bunch of my favorite songs in the last while." So like, then I found like Kingsway, and I found all these other sample makers, and then I kind of started like listening to sample packs. Then I guess, do you know what I mean? I got really into that. So like, that's probably a big kind of a big change and difference between like when I started off and now, the kind of influence of actual other sample makers and stuff in my music, I'd say. So yeah,
that's incredible. That's an amazing story. And just being able to recognize, you know, you were just purely making music, like you said, almost in an artist way at first, and just learning your instruments, and then found out later about samples. It's not like you knew about sample making and placements and all those things, and that's what got you into it.
No, it's like I didn't know. Like I remember people asking me to like send them a pack, and I was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "I'm so out." Maybe Dublin is a bit more kind of, I don't know, isolated. Maybe that was going on a lot, but like I mean, because like all my friend like they don't listen to hip hop or anything like that.
Yeah.
They'd be like, "Oh, what do you do again, Tim?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, he makes beats or something like that." I'm like, "Yeah, cool." So it's a bit of a different world over here and stuff. So maybe if I was somewhere else, I'd have more. I would have had more knowledge of that starting off, but. No, I was just kind of making stuff and then kind of stumbled upon sample making because it just turns out that's what I was doing.
All along.
Yeah, exactly, without knowing it. So, yeah, it's cool.
That's an incredible story. Thank you for sharing that.
No worries, bro.
How would you say your relationship with music has changed now versus when you were a child?
Oh, when like a kid, I didn't like listen to music at all when I was a kid. Really, it's terrible. Apart from like video game music, you know what I mean? Like that's all. Like my jams were like whatever the hell I was playing. Like it was like Ocarina of Time or like Final Fantasy 7 or like those all the Final Fantasy games pretty much. Like that's the music I was into.
Yeah, and those have phenomenal music in them. You know, Ocarina of Time has iconic music. Final Fantasy 7, you know, the Sephiroth theme is incredible.
It's Ares' theme is like my favorite piano piece of all time. The select screen from Zelda, that thing is, oh my lord, I could just listen to that all day. But yeah, then like later on, I kind of got into like a bunch of different tunes because I was just playing in different bands. I got into like, and also because I was a bass player, there was a very dark period where I got really into slap bass. I think bassists do this when they're starting to learn and they're like teenagers. They get really into slap bass because it's kind of like the shredding of the bass guitar. Well, yeah. So it's really obnoxious and it's like. So I got into a lot of kind of different funk bands and I was really into like slap bass and stuff. It was a dark time. I'm glad I'm over that. So yeah, I guess that's the only difference. I was playing in more bands back then than I am now. And I probably listen to more music now and have a greater appreciation of it. But I'm kind of listening to it for more than just learning the bass line.
What made you decide to pick up the bass guitar when you were younger?
It's the same old story with everybody else. Everyone in the neighborhood plays guitar. Nobody plays bass. You see the hole and you feel the need.
Yeah,
just
makes
jump in
sense.
there. Yeah. It's like, okay, well, I'm not going to be better than this guy. He's been playing for 2 years. So I can hold a note on the bass now and get in a band now. So I was like, I'll do that.
I love that. That's a great way to get into it. You know, you were the essential piece that was missing.
Exactly, man. Yeah, I elevated everybody else's game.
I love that. That's amazing. What are your daily habits like? You know, when do you typically wake up and what's your daily routine sort of like for you?
Well, I'm a bit all over the place. I'll give you the ideal day. Okay, so the ideal day, I'll wake up about 7, make samples for like 5 hours. About 12 o'clock, I'll get some food. 1 o'clock till about 5. I'll do some vocal exercises, try do some like vocal samples and stuff like that. Maybe try get an idea for a song down. And then around 5, go exercise, eat, chill for a bit, and then if I'm feeling it, I'll go out and make some more music, edit a video, make some artwork, and then put a video out. And that's pretty much it. It's like Groundhog Day.
That's amazing.
Yep.
When you're sort of making your music each day, how many samples do you think you're finishing on a regular basis?
Well, now I kind of find like the sweet spot for me is probably like around 6 or 7, if you get me. So like just try get that down. Like I feel like if I do any more, it's too much. I probably haven't spent enough time with the other ones. If I do any less, I just feel a bit like I could have done more. I
love that.
Yeah. So it really comes down to feeling. And also it depends on the samples and stuff as well. Like where are they going? What am I putting them on a pack, or am I just going to put them out on YouTube? Most of the time, if I'm just going to put them out on YouTube, I'll be like, okay, well, I probably won't spend too long on this. I'll just make it and then put it out there. But if it's like for like a company or something, I'll be like, okay, I'll spend a bit more time with this. Maybe add a few B section and a few different kind of parts to it, and see how it goes. But
that's amazing.
Yeah, about 6.
I
What about
don't mean
you?
to.
What's the number? How many do you do a day?
Uh, I mean, at this point, I've been just focusing on the podcast and everything, and I haven't even been able to make any
bro.
lately. But
Cool.
I after this interview, I feel like you're really gonna inspire me to go and just not overanalyze and not overthink and just knock them out.
I'm telling you, man, to see if you can get something done in 25 minutes and see what it's like at the end of it. Like, just go over it.
I love
and send
that.
it to me. I'd love to hear that. That'd be great.
Yeah, I definitely
cool.
will, man. I'll send
For
you
sure,
whatever
bro.
I make, and I'll be like, "This is the Timmy Holiday method. How'd I do?"
Yeah, no, that'd be great, man. That'd be cool. I'd love that.
How long does it take you to put a sample pack together, and how do you know when it's finished?
Ooh, geez, I don't know. I kind of just make a bunch of random stuff and then see what kind of fits. It's like usually if things are like made within the space of the same week, they all kind of have a similar vibe just because like it feels like that's just what I was making that week, or maybe I was listening to that kind of stuff. So yeah, like I would say like a week, I guess, to kind of have a pack ready to send out and stuff, or one that I could like put out and be like, yeah, no, that's like a pack, if you get me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that. And it seems like, especially with your output being so high, with like making 6 or 7 samples a day, and then, that adds up really quickly over the week, it's easy to maybe narrow them down and see what is the best or what gets sorted where, what gets uploaded to YouTube, what goes into the pack, like you were kind of speaking about earlier.
For sure, bro. It's like you'll find the ones that you really like kind of fuck with it a little bit, and you'll be like, okay, well, what other ones kind of fit this vibe? Do you know what I mean? So you can really kind of just take everything down from there and be like, okay, well, these all make sense together. Do you know what I mean? And then the ones that are left over might make sense with the stuff you're making next week, or like, a couple of months down the line, you might come back to it and be like, okay, cool. Or you might just be stuck for a sample to put out on a video and be like, oh God, I need something to put out. So you go scrolling through all your folders and be like, yeah, okay, that'll do. And you put it out. Like, so, yeah, everything, like nothing goes to waste. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's smart. How are you with like organizing your samples? Do you kind of have like a system in place so you don't forget or lose track of anything?
No, I'm the worst at organizing anything. It's terrible. Because a lot of times as well, like even like I'll have a different name for the file, like when I'm saving it on Ableton, if you get me.
Yep.
And then when I'm making the artwork, I'll be like, I don't like this name. This is gonna look stupid, or it's gonna not fit in with the artwork theme for the week or whatever. So I'll be like, I have to come up with a different name. So it's like I'll change the name of the sample, and then a lot of the time it'll be like people are like, have you got the sounds for this? And it's like, oh, what one was that again? So I have to go digging through everything again, and it's a nightmare, but it's a kind of self-inflicted nightmare because it'd be very easy for me to be organized, but I'm just not that person. It's terrible.
Which is kind of ironic almost, because I feel like I've seen you post a video on your story before where it was showing your Ableton screen and you had like the chord names like chopped out. Like I think I saw you do that one time. It said like F major 7 on one chord, and then it said like,
ooh, okay, that must have been for somebody like it was like who kind of stressed it to me that they like wanted that, you know what I mean? Because I normally wouldn't do that unless requested, I think. But yeah, no, I kind of stopped doing that as well because I think that could be kind of misleading, because a lot of the time, like a G sharp or minor might have like a bunch of other notes and stuff in there that might not be obvious to whoever is using the sample. So it's like, I don't know, they might like set their auto-tune to G sharp minor and be like, why does this sound off? It's like,
because I'm borrowing notes and borrowing
yeah, exactly.
other
There
colors.
might be some other weird chords or something in there. It's like, so I don't want to have to say, G sharp minor apart from like, bar 4 when it goes to like, I don't want to have to like, so I just leave it. And then like, if they get it, I think they're probably better off trusting their own ears than what I've written down, I think.
That's definitely true. I know for me, I've made samples before where I kind of know that the song is originally in B minor or something, but then I know I'm borrowing certain chords, and then I ended up using auto-tune in like F sharp minor because I realized that the melody harmonized better with the F sharp minor than B minor.
That's it, man. Yeah, so I just don't want to be confusing people like that, so it's better to just, let them screw it up themselves, and then you're okay.
Yeah, it's not your fault at the end of the day.
Exactly, yeah.
I love that. What is the rhythm of your creative process sort of like? Are you always working on something new?
all the time. I can never come back to anything old unless it's like finished. Like I'll go like lately I've been going back to old samples and like flipping them into new ones, if you get me. So like running them through different like either just like chopping them up in like simpler, or like running them through like granulator too. Do you know that plugin? Yeah, just like running old samples into that and then building, like using that as like the groundwork for a track and then building around it. But otherwise, it's like I can't open an old project and be like excited about it. It's just
That
it
makes
just
sense.
doesn't happen. It's like I don't know what it is. It just feels weird. It's like this thing. No, it's dead. Just let it go.
Yeah, it's an old
So-
feeling. It's not what you're in
Exactly.
that mood anymore.
Yeah. So it's like sometimes I have morbid curiosity. I'll go back into things that weren't finished and be like, okay, yeah, this is why this wasn't finished, and then that's it. But like, I mean, it's been so long since like I've had these kind of like in the last few years. It's like if I start something, I'm gonna get it done. If you get me, like in the time that since I've started, I don't really leave things anymore, just because I know I used to have best intentions that I can go back to this, but I just know myself better now.
Yeah. It's hard to kind of come back to it, I feel like, especially when you're in a different headspace, with
For sure.
artists I've been around, they'll write songs and they don't even feel like they could try to come back and write more to that song because they're not in that same mood that they were in the heat of the moment when they were first writing it.
Yeah, no, I completely get that. It's like it just feels forced or contrived or something, and it's like, yeah, I mean, if you're trying to get a feeling across in the song, like if that's the whole point, and you're not feeling it, it's like, well, okay, what are we really doing here? It's like better leave it.
Yeah,
like,
I feel like
in that
sometimes.
case, sorry, go on.
ahead.
No, go.
I was gonna say, I feel like sometimes that's lost in some of the music nowadays. Even in samples, you forget that it's not about thinking about the music; it's about feeling the music.
Oh yeah, no, without a doubt, it's like it should be like an emotion or some kind of thing you're trying to get across, rather than, hey, give me a placement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There has to be something a little bit more to it than that, I think.
I agree.
Not much, but just a little bit more.
A little bit.
Yeah.
When you're creating a sample and you like that first inspiration strikes, like how do you recognize that feeling of you're excited and you want to move forward with maybe the next layer?
Well, really, it's like I don't really think of it like that at all. It's just like I'm just gonna make something and it's gonna get done, no matter what.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've never kind of started something and been like, it just doesn't feel right. Do you know what I mean? I'll just be kind of like, I'll start something and it's like, well, I'm gonna make this into something I like. You know what I mean?
That. Yeah.
It's I've never been uninspired because I guess I'm kind of more into the process of it being more of like a craft or something. Do you know what I mean? Like something you can practice and you can do, and that you don't have to wait for like the heavens to open and shine down and say, hey, this is good. Do you know what I mean? I'd prefer it to be like a kind of like, it's like my family are carpenters, if you get me. It's like
Yeah.
they're like, it comes from that. It's like they're not going to make a beautiful house because they don't feel like it that day. It's like, well, this is your job. You're going to do this. So that's the kind of way I've been looking at music. Like, and like, don't get me wrong. Like some days I do, like the heavens do open and I do get super inspired and I make something that I really, really like. But I'm kind of more in it for like, I'll show up and I'll do the thing. And that's what I love doing.
I love that. That is so well articulated and well said. You don't have to wait for inspiration to strike. You just treat it like a craft, and the good moments will definitely come out of that.
Exactly, man. Yeah. If I was waiting around for inspiration, I'd never get anything done. It'd be terrible.
Great quote. Definitely a great quote. How did you know when you were ready to release your first sample pack?
Well, it's kind of weird because I had so many like samples out before I released my first pack, if you get me.
Yeah.
I can't remember how it would have been because it's so long ago now. But basically I had like, because I didn't understand like the business side of things at all, like when I was putting stuff out. I was just doing it for fun initially. So, I was like, what is a sample pack even? So, I made a fake email address, found out like drum broker, started like, email them asking about prices and stuff, emailing all these other people like, wow, how much you charge for this and stuff like. So I found out, and I was like, okay, I got a kind of good hang of this. I'm just gonna put this out. So I already kind of felt comfortable like putting stuff out just because I've been doing it for so long. It was more just because producers kept like saying like, oh, can you like just put something somewhere so we can buy music off you? I was like,
Yeah.
all right, fine. Like after a while, I was like, okay, I'll do that. Fine.
You're breaking my arm here. I guess I'll do
yeah,
it.
exactly. Yeah, it was like completely just like I was so stupid. But it was just a long, slow learning process for me. The whole business side of it and like selling things and licensing things. It was I just had no idea what that world was even. So like I had a bunch of stuff out there and I guess people were using them and I was like, okay, well we can do splits and stuff like that. And then it took a while for me to get the hang of, how to talk, that kind of talk, I guess.
The business talk.
Yeah, exactly. And like asking for like, your fair rights because it's like, I mean, this is my music and, your drum beat is cool and all, but, you take the sample off there. What's the drum sound like? Exactly. It's like it doesn't sound like a song anymore. So
No.
So basically, I had like tons of music out before I even thought of putting a sample pack out, and it was only because I was like, hey, I might be able to make some money out of this, and I tried.
Are you making a living off of your music now?
I am. I'm doing this full time now, which is crazy. Like, but it's a bit kind of like peaks and valleys, if you get me. Do you know what I mean? So like before the pandemic, I was also like a gigging musician, so I'd like play in bars and stuff around Dublin, and then I would like get a few extra bit of cash from selling samples or whatever. Then when the pandemic came along, all the gigs went away, but all the sample stuff like skyrocketed then because I guess every producer in the world was at home. So I was like, okay, cool. And it's kind of, the last while, I feel like it's kind of gotten a bit saturated for what I've been doing, like putting stuff out kind of out every day. Like there's a lot of people doing that now. So it's like, I feel like I don't know how long it can last, like for me to do this, or if it makes sense to me, for me to keep putting stuff out every day like that. I might have to try something else and see how it goes. But yeah, no, it's going okay for now.
I love that. It's like allowed you to follow your joy every day and just keep honing your craft and making connections with people and just showing the world like your music. And that's amazing to me.
Yeah, man, that's it. Just doing what you love. I mean, it's the only measure of success, right? If you can pursue doing the thing that you want to do without compromising. I mean, that's it. Doesn't matter how much money you're fucking making. That's that's great. Like,
that's amazing. That's definitely a smart piece of advice to give to people. Just following your joy, and the money will come. It's not about the money being the motivator.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like if that is the motivator, maybe people can pick up on it, maybe they can't. I feel like the music you're making is kind of. If you get known for like making something that you don't really fuck with because you wanted to make money, I don't think you're gonna feel good about it. Do you know what I mean? I think it's gonna be a bad kind of way for you to get your start or whatever the hell it is. Do you know what I mean? I don't think it's not a good thing.
No, it's not sustainable at all.
No, because there's so many people who can make like that thing as well. Do you know what I mean? So you can fail trying to make the money like and do what's popular or whatever, but you might as well try to do what you love, because like if you're trying to chase the other thing, it's like that cannot work out as well, and it's like you just wasted all your time like chasing this thing. But if you're just like putting out music that you like all the time, it's like, well, at least I've got that like to fall back on. It's like I'm doing what I love. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like even if no success or no money comes in, you would still be doing that thing you love because you purely enjoy it.
Thank you for saying what I was trying to say.
Hey, teamwork makes the dream work, as they say.
That's it, bro. That's it.
How do you stay inspired musically and creatively?
I guess like I watch a lot of films. Actually, yeah, that's probably my favorite thing to do is like, just get like someone you trust to recommend like it has to be someone you trust, because like I take this very seriously. To recommend you some films, you go watch that film, and then like without reading reviews or like anything about it, go in blind, and then like if you like it, just kind of try find interviews with the director or whatever, or the cast, and like kind of see how the whole thing was put together. I've been doing that a lot recently. I've seen this film called Hellbender. Have you ever heard of this?
No, is it good?
Oh, it's the weirdest film. It was made by like a family, like some American family. It's about like a mother-daughter band living out in the woods who are witches. It's
That sounds amazing.
It's bizarre. Don't watch the trailer because it will put you off watching the film. It's I love it because it's like it was like a family like who made it. If you get me, like a no budget quarantine film, and I was like, this is amazing. You can actually like the tools exist nowadays for you to actually just go out and make a movie if you have like the gumption. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like that to me is like the most inspiring thing ever. Like. So yeah, like I watch a lot of films and like kind of read up about who are like making them and what the process was and stuff. So yeah, that
That's
and just
amazing.
being outside and going for walks and stuff like that, or going out with friends and getting drunk on the weekends and stuff like that. That's all like very important stuff to me.
Yeah. Do you ever
Yeah.
smoke or drink alcohol or coffee when you go to create music?
Coffee is like I only gave up like last week, I would say. I was like 90% coffee for like a good 3 years of my life. I was like 8 cups a day, like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Like no, it was too much. So yeah, I gave up in the last week. Had like the worst kind of like coffee hangover because
The migraine.
exactly, yeah. So like last week was rough. As for drinking, I love drinking, but not when I'm making music. I can't make the two things work unless it's like, you know, jamming with friends and stuff, like in a room where you're just playing songs, or, you know, just jamming on D minor for 4 hours. Everybody's drunk having a good time. That's cool then. But like if it's like I'm making music, because I can't do it. It's like, especially being hungover is the worst thing ever. For like it's the closest to like what like writer's block I've ever had. Is when you wake up the next day and it's like, well, I can't do anything today because I'm a dead person.
Yeah.
But and as for drugs, no, I don't really smoke around. I used to smoke like tobacco a lot over here. So this is probably European too. Like a lot of people like mix like tobacco with weed. You don't do that over there in
Not too
America.
much. Spliffs aren't like a big thing in America.
Okay, cool. So like I'd just be kind of, because I've got such an addictive personality, I was like, well, I'm not going to smoke anymore because I feel like I'm really doing it for the tobacco and not the
And
weed.
not the
if you
weed.
get me. Exactly, yeah. So no, pretty clean cut until the weekends, and then it's all holds barred.
I love that. I definitely struggled with like those kind of things. I smoked weed a lot, especially because I live in Southern California, and California is like the marijuana capital of the United States. It's
Okay, cool.
It's everywhere. It was pretty much legal. It's been legal the last 12 years. And
Nice.
yeah, it was always a big part of the culture for me. And I just stopped 70 days ago, a little over that. And I stopped
Whoa, how are you
weed,
feeling?
alcohol, coffee. I feel incredible. I stopped
Yeah.
everything, and it feels so much clearer, and I feel like I have much more motivation and focus, and all that over analytical feeling and over analysis when I'm
Yeah,
being
yeah.
creative just melted away.
That's incredible, bro. And I know that kind of weird pressure as well of having like the culture, like this is what we do here. We smoke weed. Do you know what I mean? Like that's
Yep.
like here in Dublin, it's like, well, we drink. This is what we do. It's like every weekend is like that's what we do. Like
You go out
it's-
and drink a pint.
Exactly. Well, yes. Start with one and then see what. But it's like, yeah, no. There's such a big, huge culture, like, kind of built around that, and it can be very hard to get out of, because it's like a lot of the time it would almost feel like there's nothing else to do. But it's yeah. No, I can kind of relate with that, man. Like where you're kind of in it, like if you get me, and maybe you
Yeah.
don't always want to be, like, which is yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, props though. 70 days. Sheesh.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's
That's
not
crazy.
too hard. The blessing is I have a few friends who we're just so close, and everybody in my friend group is on that wave. Like we all used to smoke and drink and go out and have fun and do these things, and then my friend, he would drink coffee. Like I was like heavy coffee drinker. I have an espresso machine in my house, and I was making 2 or 3 lattes a day. Like
Yes,
I was
same.
going in.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
but because you have that support network, and I have my friends who are all just trying to be on this pursuit of greatness and just try to be at our highest optimal level of production and productivity, it makes the journey 10 times easier.
Yeah, I'd say so without a doubt. I have the opposite thing where it's like, it'd be like, hey, you coming out for a pint? And be like, go on.
Yeah.
I'm so weak. So
No,
yeah,
that's
props,
hard.
bro. That's great.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and thank you, for applauding my sobriety and all that. And it's hard in those first, I'll say, 2 weeks, but after that, I feel like you're in the clear, and you're just it's easier to say no. And
Yeah,
when I'm
yeah.
out, it's way more fun, honestly. Like when I go out to the bars with my friends now, because we go out to go dance, it's way easier to go out and have fun, and I'm still myself, and I feel like just I avoid drama, I avoid fights, I avoid a lot of the problems that may have come across my way prior to not stopping.
Yeah, I get you, because I guess your inhibitions might be a bit different now. So it's like, yeah, you can
Definitely.
see this isn't worth following. I don't have to fight everybody.
Yeah. Believe me,
That's cool, bro.
it's a blessing now.
I might have to try a little detox period or something like 30 days, see how it goes.
Yeah, and if you have
That'd be
any
cool.
questions or need any support, reach out to me. I'll definitely try to steer you in the right direction and give you the emotional rally you need.
Hey, I appreciate that, bro. That's cool.
Of course. What are some unorthodox ways you've made music before?
Ooh, unorthodox ways of making music. I mean, I'm not sure. Like I used to do these things where like there's a site called freesounds.com or like .org or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So like they'd have like a sound of the day kind of thing. I used to just go on there and like check the license if it was like completely royalty free, no matter what it was. I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna make like a pack of one shots out of this sound, if you get me. So it'd be like one of the days it was like, I think it was like a mouse click, like a, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so I was like, all right, let's see what I can do with that. And I took that and I have a sample. I think it's called Cambing. It's up on my YouTube channel if anyone wants to check it out. But yeah, like the whole thing was just made out of a group of one shots that I made out of this noise of a mouse click. So I guess that was pretty like
That's
cool.
unorthodox.
I was doing kind of weird little, I don't know, like exercises or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like challenges or something like what can you do with this? Like I used to do with doorbells a lot. Try and make a road sound out of a doorbell, and then like
Wow.
make all packs and stuff out of that. So yeah, just weird little things. I think that's probably the strangest thing I can think of off top.
That's
Um,
amazing.
Yeah, no, it's definitely worth a try. I mean, really kind of gets you into like how you can use anything really if you want. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
you're not limited by gear or whatever, because like it's like you can find something and you can make something amazing out of it anyway if you try.
It's all
definitely
about
worth trying.
knowing how to manipulate the sound or the source that you get, and then you could turn that into a great music or instrument that you maybe wouldn't have used before.
Exactly, and also it's going to be a sound that nobody has, which is amazing to have, because I mean, if everybody's using the same sounds, it's like everybody's going to sound the same. So, you
Well
know,
said.
it's good to have your own kind of bank of different kind of sounds that you've made out of weird, different household items. I guess.
I've definitely done that exact thing. One of my favorite samples I ever made was I had made some pasta, and I took the empty box that the pasta shells came in, and I
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
what's
put
up.
a dip in the middle of the box, and I put rubber bands around the box,
Whoa,
and then I just plucked the rubber band like doo doo into the mic and got some
Nice.
one shots, and then it made this
yes.
crazy, plucked instrument sound. And I remember it was when I was taking Al Hug's sample class, and I sent it to him, and he was like, that doesn't sound like a guitar or like a stringed instrument I've heard before. What is that? And I told him, I was
That's
like,
so
yeah,
cool.
it's made from my household sounds. It's just a cardboard box that I got from the store with a rubber band on it, and I made an instrument out of it.
I love that, man. That's incredible. Yeah, that's the kind of thing I'm all about.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I'm gonna get a few rubber bands and a bunch of pasta now and see what I can.
I'm telling you, it's really cool, and it's like you were saying, it's just something to be a creative exercise to see what you can make.
Exactly, man. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
When are the times you find yourself having the most fun in the studio?
It's never fun. No, well, it's probably when I'm listening back, like at the end of the day, just putting everything. Because I guess like when you're making stuff, you're kind of too in it to like have an opinion either way, or at least I am, to have like, you know, kind of really hear it for what it is. So even like the distance of a couple of hours is enough for me to be like, I'll come back to it and be like, this is actually all right.
Yeah.
So like that's probably my favorite part of it. It's probably the most fun, is like listening back to what you've done that day, and then yeah, that's the most fun.
I love that.
You know, playing with other people as well is the best thing in the world. Even if you're not like recording or anything or whatever, it's just jamming. Like that's kind of what I came up doing. Like, you know, just playing with other musicians. That's the most fun you could possibly have. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, well said. And I feel like that kind of gets lost sometimes in the hip hop world. Is, you know, maybe producers will link up and make a beat together, but it's not the same as when, you know, one person's on the bass, one person's singing, one person's on the guitar. That camaraderie and that feeling of everybody playing things in real time live is just so amazing.
It's a different thing now. I do feel like producers are getting kind of more into like playing stuff though now as well, because I guess because like samples and melody making is kind of becoming like a way to make a few quid and, like, you know, maybe get a placement or whatever. So producers are like learning that now as well, which is great, because it just means like musicianship is going back up and stuff. Like people are getting really into this, and it's like, it's just cool to see. It's good.
Definitely. It's cool to see too, like how your age really doesn't matter with these things either. You know, there's people who are amazing musicians who are older, who maybe played in bands in the 70s and 80s, who get to play on samples now. Like I know Mario has people he works with like that, who are older musicians who have amazing voices and amazing players at instruments, and now they're playing on samples and getting placements, and they're getting, you know, platinum records at 50 years old.
I need the Bootsy Collins sample pack. Like that's what I want, man.
Hell yeah. I need those bass lines.
Exactly, and I need the freaky little ooh noises and stuff as well.
That would be incredible. Cool.
That would be insane. Imagine that, like Bernie Worrell on the keys and stuff. No, that's the kind of stuff I'd love to see. That, like, it'd be cool.
I agree. No, that's someday incredible.
I'll email him and ask him.
What would you say is your signature sound if you had to define it?
Ooh, well, it's weird because I guess it's kind of mechanical, because like, so I guess you're asking earlier on, like, how long does it take to make a sample or whatever, and I have like a process that I can do extremely quickly, and that kind of results in a certain sound. I take longer if I'm trying like a new process. It would probably be a longer way of doing it. But at the moment, like the way it'd work, I kind of have this weird thing where like I kind of resample things, like layer them on top of each other, and then like have them swirling around each other and stuff. And it's like that to me is what I sound like in my head, if you get me. It's kind of hard to explain without like Ableton or something. But yeah, no, there's a certain kind of thing I do in all my samples, which, you know, I'm probably leaning on it a little bit too much lately. I'm getting a bit bored of it, but it's like at the same time I'm like, yeah, but that's my sound. Like, what else am I gonna do? So
yeah,
it's yeah, I don't know how to feel about it. But it's kind of a weird question as well, like, cause like I can't really, I can see it like the way I see it, but I don't know how everybody else hears it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
because I've heard people come up to me and say like, oh, I heard this track, and I was like, I immediately knew it was you, and I was like, cool, and it's like, that's good, like, to hear, and it's like, I wonder what they're hearing though. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
I feel like for me as a listener, it's, you know, your piano tone is very recognizable. That piano behind you, it just has
it's
the Timmy Holiday sound.
It's so out of tune, that's why.
But you know, that piano like has just the signature sound.
It's great.
Your vocal tone has like a certain sound, and even the way you play guitar, I feel like it's very much you as a human, like characterized through your music. You can hear your soul in the music.
That's cool. The way I was trying to explain to somebody was the other day, it was like clumsy precision.
Well said.
Because I was like trying to play something that was kind of complicated and stuff, and the timing was a bit crazy, and I got there in the end. Like, do you know Thelonious Monk, the old like jazz player?
Yes, so
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
I have a
Like,
book
I
on
was-
him on my bookshelf.
Oh, he's incredible, man. He's unreal. Have you ever seen that documentary about him, Clint Eastwood made? You should watch it after this. It's unreal. It's one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. But
I'll
no,
definitely do that.
like it's that kind of weird, like plinky innocence about it. It sounds like a kid playing keys, but the stuff he's playing is so complex. It's mind blowing. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's
Yeah.
what I'm like striving for. It's like where it sounds like, naive, but it's very. There's something else going on that you could just write it off as naive if you didn't know what it was. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
And
that
correct me
kinda-
if I'm wrong. Thelonious Monk isn't. There's a story about him like coming out. It was like a concert or something. He came out, played like one chord or like one note, and then just left.
Oh yeah,
And that was the
yeah.
show.
I think I seen that in a Flea interview he was talking about, and I was like, oh yeah, holy shit, that's incredible. He just went bam,
And then that was all the feeling. That was Thelonious Monk in a
that was
nutshell.
it. And people were like, that's jazz.
100%.
yeah.
I love how much insight you have of good music and good cinema. It sounds like you're pretty eclectic with your tastes. You have a lot of good taste in art.
I wouldn't say good taste, but I've got a wide range.
There you go. We'll move on to my For the Nerds section. This is kind of where we'll talk about some plugins and instruments and those kind of things.
Cool.
What are some of your most regularly used plugins or VSTs?
Oh, I have Ableton just like open right here. I can just have a look. Hey,
Yeah.
cool. Oh, okay. So do you know like all the Universal Audio kind of stuff that comes free, like the Apollo Twin? I love that stuff because
They're
like
so good.
they sound amazing. Like and like is it the DSP on it? They're quite low still. Like you don't need any kind of add-ons for the Apollo Twin for it. So like I use the 1176. Like I use that a lot.
Amazing
Nigel
compressor.
do you know Nigel Godrich who does all the Radiohead kind of stuff? So he has like this trick where it's like the release is all the way to this side, the attack is all the way to this side. You just put that on whatever, like it sounds great. So I use that a lot. LA2A, I use that on the piano all the time. I love that just because the transients on my piano and this microphone, they can be quite harsh, so it kind of rounds them out a good bit. Like
Definitely.
what else do I use? Oh, like do you know Decimore 2? Did you ever hear that plugin? I think am I
I don't
pronouncing
think
it right?
I don't think so.
Decimore.
Decimore. Yeah, the
Yeah.
distortion.
It's like a filter, like a kind of what would you call it? Like a bit crushing the filter
That's
kind of
what
thing.
it is. Yes.
Yeah. I use that like all the time. I love that plugin.
What do you use it on?
Whatever. Everything. No, I use that a lot. Like say if I'm resampling things, I'll put it down like an octave. I love the sound of really low things with all the low taken out of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's great. It sounds like a ship underwater or something. It's like they get this kind of weird, like deep, like crunchy kind of feeling rather than bass. You get like this some kind of nice weird kind of sounds out of that. So that's a really really cool one. Jeez, and then I guess what everybody else uses like the Fab filters and all that kind of stuff. The Sound Toys bundle is amazing. Waves bundle is great. I actually use that a good bit. It's good stuff, man.
Yeah, I don't have an Apollo, so I don't have access to the Universal Audio plugins. I've seen them used by other people, so I have to use all the Waves versions. I use the CLA 76, the CLA 2A, all of those type of, compressors and EQs.
No, they sound amazing as well, though. They're so cool. I just use the other ones because I don't know. It's like because I spent all the money on the Apollo Twin. I'm like, well, I'm going to use these.
It's there. You got to use it.
Yeah. And also, I had something else there. Oh yeah, I got a bunch of like reverbs from UAD, and like I spent like tons of money on them, and I never use any of them. It's terrible.
What
Got, like,
reverb
all
do
these-
you like to use?
Valhalla all the way. Come on. Everybody
Yeah.
knows. Everyone knows. It's Valhalla Room and the vintage one. They're the best. I love them.
One of my favorite reverbs in the Waves bundle is the Manny Verb. If you've never tried that one, Like
The Manny Verb? No, I don't think I've ever tried that one.
it's really cool. It's set up in a way that's really easy. Like it's a super simple user interface. It has like hall, room, space, like really simple like I guess types of reverb you can use off of rip. And then
Yeah.
the decay time and those kind of things isn't in milliseconds, it's in percentages. So I'm guessing it's like
Okay.
tempo synced.
Weird. Okay, yeah, definitely gonna try that out. That's gonna be cool.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's really cool reverb plugin. It's like my go-to, and I feel like it's slept on, so not many people use it.
Do you use Ableton as well? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So the convolution reverb in that is cool. There's the spring sound on the convolution reverb. I really like it. Some people think it's a bit janky. I like it.
Nah, it
cool,
definitely
man.
has a great character to it. I love it.
Yeah, it's nice. I love that. But yeah, that's about it for the plugins. Kind of standard kind of stuff. It's
Yeah.
like,
But that's
Not too
okay.
wild.
That kind of shows people, it's not some secret thing that only Timmy Holiday has that's exclusive to his sound or anything,
oh shit, my favorite one. It was the Pultec. Did I say that? The EQ. The Pultec EQ. Oh my
So
god,
good.
that is the greatest. I do my caveman EQ kind of thing with that, where it's like, I'll just go, whoosh, and it's like, okay, cool. This
Yeah.
vocal sounds good now. You know?
Yeah, I use the Waves version of that. It's the Puig Tech.
The
EQ.
Puig Tech. Yeah. It's
And
brilliant, man. I was using
that's
that.
my
before.
go-to EQ on everything. It just sounds so good.
Oh, it's incredible, man. I love doing it. So you boost like 10K crazy on vocals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you cut it above, you cut it at 5K, if you get me. So it takes out a lot of harshness, but it still has a lot of brightness. I love that. It's great. But
Such a good balance.
That's like the best. It's the best EQ. It's
I
nice.
agree. What are some of your most regularly used instruments or pieces of gear that you have?
Oh, this microphone. This is the AKG 414, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, C414. Yeah, that's definitely the most used bit of equipment I have because I try to record everything. Apart from that, it's just like mostly all like live instruments and stuff. Unless it's like one shots that I've made myself. Yeah, I mean, it's got like a bunch of guitars up here. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah.
Like this
oh,
boy.
nice nylon string.
Yeah. Also, I'd recommend everybody do this. Just go to whatever thrift store is like closest to you and just find the cheapest, like most broken guitar you can find. This one's got like 4 strings and they're all out of tune. It's amazing. You make the jankiest, dirtiest sounding kind of trap music ever.
I love that.
Really cool. And then there's the piano over there. It's so out of tune now though. It's like I can't even use it anymore. Like it's so hard, like because like trying to get it sit well with other instruments that are in tune. It's like I used to do this thing where I'd put actually the auto tune from the Waves bundle. I used to put that on the piano and stuff, and it would sound cool because it make it sound like a tape almost. Because like there's more than one note playing at the same time. It's like the auto tune is like trying to figure out which one to correct. So it gives this weird kind of warble and stuff like. But it was good enough that it would still be in tune, but also still be crankly and weird, like, and
Have a character to it.
Exactly, yeah. So that's where it's trying as well. So just guitars, pianos, microphone. Try to use my voice as much as possible, just as a way of strengthening it more than anything else.
Yeah, no, that's smart. It's like you were
That's it,
saying
well.
about, practicing the instruments and working on your voice and using samples to just improve yourself as a musician overall.
Exactly, man. Yeah, so like that was a big part of using like vocals and stuff like that in samples, was just to get used to like singing and hearing the sound of my own voice. Because I think everybody hates the sound of their own voice, if you get me.
I feel like
it's
that too.
Yeah, so it's like you just have to break through that barrier, and making music is a good way to break through. So
100%.
it's
You
good
also,
stuff, man.
don't you use a cassette like Tascam, like tape machine?
Oh
or
yeah,
something?
I wonder, can you see it there? If I move this over a little bit. Oh wait, no.
That one right there.
Can you see this?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. I've got that. It's a Fostex 4-track. So like I use that just for like kind of. Initially I was doing the time consuming thing and recording straight to tape and stuff, but now I kind of just use it as like an effects kind of thing where I'll record in Ableton, send everything out to the tape, back into Ableton, and then like just to kind of get that texture and stuff on it. and it's really good for like pitch shifting and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
it's strange as well because like tape is not really as tapey as you might hope it was gonna be. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes
Definitely.
it sounds too kind of clean or something. So it's like a lot of time I'll have like the tape come back in and be like, I'll put like sketch cassette on it as well. Anyway,
So you're just doubling up on the tape effect anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like it's probably sacrilege or something to do this to be like, but yeah, that's sometimes you just want a little bit more lo-fi than you might be getting from the real thing if you get.
Yeah, definitely. How do
So-
you manipulate the pitch using the tape machine?
Oh, so there's like an actual pitch wheel on it.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's like I wonder can I show it? I've got a smaller one around here somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is another one. It's another like Fostex kind of thing. So there's a pitch wheel here. Can you see it?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Okay, so you have it like either up all the way when you're like tracking onto the tape, and then you move it down. So like when you play it back out, it's going to be very low and warped. Or you have it down all the way, so when you put it back up, it's going to be super high pitched and strange and stuff. So that's what I use both of these for, just kind of manipulating pitch and stuff. Like it's good fun, man. You kind of get a bit too into it though sometimes. It can be dangerous.
Yeah, definitely. That's amazing, though. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. And I'm sure,
No worries.
people are going to go out and try to grab some of those tape machines now just for that effect alone.
Oh yeah, no, I'd recommend that little small one. What's it called? I think it's like the XO or 13 or something like that. Fostex. It's like a small little thing. I think you can get them cheap enough from Reverb or whatever. So if anybody's into that, go for it.
I might have to go grab one myself.
Yeah, look them up, man. Fostex. I think Tascam are all very overpriced and stuff because Mac DeMarco and whoever.
Yeah.
So there are alternatives out there if you're willing. Just
I'm up for
dig
it.
for them. Yeah, for sure.
How do you process your vocals and your different instruments in your samples?
I don't really do too much with the vocals, apart from like maybe recording at a slower speed or something. Do you know what I mean? I kind of just record in and then put like reverb, take out the lows, take out the highs, and see how it sounds. Stack them loads as well. Like normally, most of my vocals are probably like 4 stacks. If it's just like an ooh noise or whatever, like just because it's fun.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
really fun stacking stuff. And do you mean like processing like I'm not really sure what you mean.
I guess
just-
kind of like the effect chain when you're in Ableton.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I guess it just kind of depends on what sound or whatever I'm going for. Usually, I'll just put an EQ and a reverb on it, and it's like the sound that I wanted was probably good enough or close enough to if going in. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
other than that, yeah, just using the tape machines. Oh, also I use all these kind of weird little guitar pedals and stuff. I haven't got
Yeah.
too many, but
What kind of
when the
guitar
mood's-
pedals do you like to use?
I've got this like the Cooper Effects. Do you know the one, the arcade?
The
Where
arcade.
it's like you have different cards and you can like plug it in. Yeah, I've got like the lo-fi and the pitch card. That's class. Like that's a good time. And I have this Digitech whammy thing as well.
Yeah,
I think
the red
you were
pedal,
talking
right?
about that before. Yeah, the red one. Yeah. I seen one of your interviews. You were talking about it. And
I told Jake about it.
Oh, okay, cool. It was the the thing that Jack White uses. That's why I got it back in the day. I was like, oh, cool. I'm gonna be the next Jack White.
Yeah, it's funny. Your musician background, like from playing in bands, like I'm sure inspired a lot of the pedals that you later acquired.
Yeah, well, maybe I just got them then, and then they kind of just sat in the corner for a while. And then when I started making music, I was like, oh, all those pedals that I collected when I had best intentions to use them, I could probably use them now.
Yeah.
So that's the way it's been. But no, I love that thing. The Digitech whammy is great. Like I love it. Like say if you record like a couple of chords where you're singing at the same time on the piano, and then you run that back out and kind of just be like, woof, like moving it up and down to just kind of change the pitch. Like it's incredible. Like, or what I'll do as well, I'll run samples through it, and then put Sound Shifter. Do you know that plugin?
Yep.
That's like actually I should have mentioned that. That's like my favorite plugin ever. So you put it back to the way it was, if you get me. So if it's going up an octave on this, you have it go down on the Sound Shifter, and you just kind of get this weird texture where like everything is kind of has this weird digital grit to it. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, there was a a producer or a sample maker, Ty, who I was just interviewing recently. His episode's coming out next week, I think, or
Prod
coming out
by
soon.
Ty,
Yeah,
my boy Ty. I
Prod
love
by
him.
Ty.
He's one of the original mermaid men. Only he will know what that means.
I
No,
love
he's
it.
great. He's cool.
But yeah, Ty told me about, he likes recording like a guitar or something and then putting RC20 on it and pitching it up in Edison in FL Studio, but then using Sound Shifter to bring it back down to the original pitch, and it gives it that
Yeah.
wobbly character.
Exactly, man. That's it. It's like something about Sound Shifter. It kind of like squashes everything a little bit as well. Like a lot of time, like I'd even have on the master chain where it'd be Sound Shifter like going up 3 semitones and then another one on after it going down 3 semitones. So it's like in the same key and everything, but it just has this weird character to it. And it's like, I don't know. It's
I
just
love
like,
that.
It's just like just trying to sound normal.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
that's what it's trying to do. Like, it's great.
One of my favorite things with the whammy pedal that I've touched on before a little bit is like recording something to tape on the cassette tape recorder and then running out the cassette recorder, the tape through the whammy pedal back into Ableton
Ah,
and
cool.
pitching
I
down
haven't-
the tape sound, because then you get
Yeah.
like this other character to it as well.
That sounds cool. I'm definitely have to try that as soon as this interview is over. That sounds whopper.
I love it.
Yeah, that's cool.
What are some of the essential elements that you gravitate towards when you're making your samples?
Mm. I don't know. I guess if it's just coming from the right place, really, it's more of a like if it's like an honest kind of thing what you're feeling that day. That's probably the most important thing I would say. It's like an honest kind of expression. That's the only thing you have to do, really.
Well said, definitely. Do you feel that space, like leaving space, whether that's in between chords or leaving space without a bass in your samples, is very important?
No. Nah, go 100 tracks deep. It's all good. No, of course it is. It's like, it's something I really struggle with because it's so difficult to do, I think. Like lately I've been trying to make stuff where I only use 3 tracks in Ableton, and like that is so difficult to do because, I feel like I've just gotten to a point where it's like, it's easy to sound good if you just keep throwing things at it. You know what I mean? You can make something sound cool and full because there's so much going on. But it's like, what can you do with 3 tracks? And then I'm kind of sat there going, this is difficult. So like that's the kind of next wave that I'm on. So it is very, very important, especially if you're actually trying to work with other artists or other producers. It's like to leave space for them is like, you don't want to, like, this is all about me. You don't want to be like that. You kind of want to have room for collaboration because that's what I guess samples are supposed to be as well. It's kind of a weird like collaboration in WAV form.
Yeah,
That's what it
definitely.
is.
Well, I appreciate you touching on that. What are some of your what do you feel are some underrated or slept on plugins or pieces of gear that maybe aren't being looked at enough or used enough?
Ooh. Do you own a tuner in Ableton?
Yeah,
That's the most slept on plug.
I always tune all of my 808s and things with that. I always do that.
Exactly, man. Yeah, and also if you're like only learning how to sing or whatever, anybody listening, put the tuner on that thing. If you want to get a sound that doesn't sound like it's just got auto tune or whatever on it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Put the tuner on there if you need a little bit of help. That's okay. And also as well, then you can do this thing where it's like you might have it right on the button for one note, and then you might hit like 10 cents lower on the next layer because that'll make it sound fuller because the 2 voices are slightly out of tune. So that's really cool. Also, Utility, the most boring plugin of all. You know that?
Yeah.
I love that.
No, it's good. I mean, I use that always whenever I get even audio sent to me that's in stereo, or before when I was early producing, I would take samples and, back in the day, a lot of the samples have stuff only going on the right channel or only on the left channel. And I would use Utility to take maybe just the drums out of the right channel and use that.
Yeah. That's it, man. I use it all the time to do this kind of weird swirly effect where it's like, so you have like one track and then it will send to a delay, but the Utility swaps it around as it comes in, if you get me. So it just sounds like a circle going around.
That's amazing.
Because you have like a pan as well. It's but no, Utility is class. So yeah, slept in the most boring two plugins, the
But hey, they're
tuner
worth it in the end.
and utility.
All right, we'll move on to my final five. These will be my last five questions for you. They can be one sentence or one word. They don't have to be very long if you don't want them to be, but you can elaborate a little bit more if you'd like to.
Okay, cool.
What is something you wish more people did in their music?
Ooh. Just I guess just be honest and take risks, if you get me. Yeah,
Definitely.
like I feel like a lot of people kind of look at what's successful and say, "I'll do what that guy did," instead of being like, "Well, what's unique to me?" Do you know what I mean? It's
Yes.
like for the longest time, this is gonna sound like kind of corny or something, but like I'm trying to like figure out ways of like if I could like combine like whatever music I'm making now with like Irish folk music, like that would be something that nobody is doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like little kind of things like that, but it's something that I have like a big kind of interest in and stuff, and it is unique to me. So it's like kind of things like that, like just take things that you might think be a little bit kind of cringy or something, or maybe music that you grew up with and stuff that isn't just like soul and jazz and stuff. You might, I don't know, have some kind of weird traditional music that nobody's ever heard of. Bring that out as well. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
just
definitely.
take what's unique to them and put it in the music, rather than trying to settle for what everyone else is doing.
Well said. What is something that used to be important to you that you no longer care about?
Um, hmm, I guess being like precious with things. Like I used to be very, this has to be perfect. Like I guess with perfection, then yeah, it's like I used to, because you're never gonna get there, and it's like it only slows the process down really. So yeah, I don't really care about that anymore.
Well said. I love that. What would you say is the best way for a sample maker to improve their samples?
Um, make 10,000 samples.
You've definitely done it from experience.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, no, just make as much as you can. I know there's a great argument for quality versus quantity and stuff like that, but for me, it's like you can just get good at this by putting practice in, if you get me, and you can put practice in by just making as much music as you want, and then not only will you be good at it by the end of that, you'll also have like 10,000 samples that you can send out to people.
Yeah, definitely.
Be good.
Well said. What is the worst advice you've ever received?
The worst advice. Um. Oh, okay. So I used to play in like a rock and roll band where like I was playing like stand up bass, like used to do all like Elvis Presley kind of Johnny Cash stuff, and we were playing this old barbershop in Dublin called Abner Brown's, and they kind of wanted to be like the hub for when the big rock and roll revival in Dublin was going to kick off and stuff. So like there's a good few gigs going and stuff. So they're like, "Hey Tim, you should get your haircut like this," and I was like, I don't know, I don't really want this kind of hillbilly kind of look or whatever. And they're like, "Oh no, it'd be cool, it'd be cool." It's like, "We'll do, it'd be good, it's gonna look good." So I was like, after a while I was like, "Okay, go on, go for it." I mean, I can always grow my hair back if it's bad. Got a cut, and then I was like, "Oh God, this is terrible." What am I doing? Immediately went out and bought a hat, and I was like, "From now on, I will never change how I look for somebody else's music. This is terrible."
Yeah.
So yeah, it was bad advice. You should get your hair cut like this, and I listened.
Hold on to your own artistic integrity and don't just listen to what other people are just telling you looks good. Like it has to resonate with you inside.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't try fitting with a scene with a stupid haircut.
Well said. And my final question for you is, what's the best advice you've ever received?
Ooh. Just to do it your own way. Do it your own way. Don't. Yeah, like I'm saying, don't look at what he's doing and what he's doing, and then think that that's gonna work for you. You might have even just ways of approaching putting music out or like sending it to people. It doesn't all have to be the same way. Um, you can just find your own way of doing things and trust your gut with that and follow that.
Well said. You've definitely shown that from experience, doing things your own way and doing them for the right reasons, the things that feel right within your own heart, not just what everybody tells you is the standard or the way to do things.
Exactly, bro. Yeah, just do it your own way.
Well said. Well, thank you so much for taking your time with me today, Tim. I really appreciate all the advice you've shared, all the wisdom you've shared, the laughs we've shared. It's been an incredible conversation, and this really was it was a big moment for me, man. It's a big moment for my life to talk to the person who is the reason I even wanted to start making samples. So just thank you so much.
That's so crazy to hear, bro. It was my pleasure to be here. My privilege. Thank you so much. It was cool.
Of course, brother. I wish you all the best. I'm going to keep following your journey. I'm going to keep supporting you. I'm just excited to see where everything's headed. And hopefully, one day I can fly you out here to America and meet you in person and maybe make some samples and watch the process in person.
For sure, bro. It'd be great to make some music. I'm actually going to Vegas next week. It's going to be cool. But I'd love to go over to LA because it seems like being in Dublin, it's like I feel like you're always on the outside looking in. So I'll get over there someday and, take over. It'd be great.
I love it, man. Well, you have a great day. Thank you so much. And we'll
Cheers, bro.
end the podcast here.
Cool.